Wow, so the Eagles finally just overcame their greatest challenge as they beat the Bucs in Tampa to start 4-0, and by doing so, they made a scary statement to the rest of the league. As the defense came up clutch, with Quinyon Mitchell having possibly the best game of his entire career, and Jihaad Campbell making the play of the day. But for the offense, it was another tale of two halves, as Jalen Hurts in the passing game looked elite at one moment and dysfunctional the next, and the dysfunction seems to have A.J. Brown frustrated. So in this video, I'll talk about that, what needs to change, why the Eagles are not satisfied, and everything else from the Week 4 win over the Bucs starting right now. Well, what are the odds? That's now a second straight week in a row where the Eagles pulled out a tough win against a good team where both halves looked completely different, as opposed to the Rams game where the first half was horrible but things turned around in the second half and they were able to mount an epic comeback. This week, it was the exact opposite, as the Birds started the game off perfectly and absolutely balled out in that first half, but the second half left a lot to be desired, as the Eagles held on to win, but it wasn't pretty, and it got pretty nerve-wracking at times, and that offense, man, like how bipolar can it be? But as we've been saying week in and week out, a win is a win, and I want to take a moment to appreciate that. As we got to remember, when we got the Eagles schedule and saw those first 4 games, it was an absolute gauntlet. Like, it looked like a really, really tough stretch, but now, 4 weeks in, the Birds are 4-0, they're one of just 2 remaining undefeated teams, and they just keep finding ways to win. And the best part is, even though it wasn't perfect, they know they got stuff to clean up, and they are not satisfied.
4-0 is good. What did we talk about all week, though? Don't let good get in the way of great, right? We got a lot of work to do. It's hard to win in the National Football League. It's even harder to win on the road against a good opponent. Enjoy this.
I thought we played a great first half. Now we got to find ways to extend drives in the second half. But man, what a hell of a game we played today. That was a great team. The Bucs, they're not bums, and winning games down in Tampa is a big deal because we haven't won games. You know, we've been humiliated. We've been on that side of the ball, and so this is a plus for me. Now we're not in the business to get better. Don't get me wrong. We're going to watch that film. We're going to see why we're one block away. If it's an error in communication, if it's a breakdown in detail in coaching, or if it's a technique and execution problem. Those are things we can fix because of the people we have in the room and in the locker room. But yeah, we're not going to beat ourselves, man. This is a great win.
At the end of the day, a win is always a win, so I will take it. And like Mailata said, especially against the Tampa Bay team that has had the Eagles' number in recent years, especially on the road. So to get a win like that against them specifically in that environment feels really, really good. And again, there were a lot of great things and positive developments in this game. I mean, for starters, how about the Eagles opening the game by forcing a punt and then blocking it, specifically with Cam Latu breaking through and getting his hand on the ball, and then returning it for a touchdown courtesy of Sidney Brown. Like, there's absolutely no better way to set the tone. And look at Sirianni in the background here. I mean, you gotta love that. And this also marked back-to-back special team touchdowns for the Eagles, which is just absolutely insane. And the Birds kept the good vibes rolling from there, as they followed up that special team score by forcing a 3-and-out, with Quinyon Mitchell showing up big on that drive, first forcing an incompletion on what was a nice throw to Emeka Egbuka, and then flying in and tackling Egbuka short on 3rd and 3 to bring out the punt team. And by the way, how about Quinyon Mitchell? I mean, the guy might have just had the best game of his entire career against 2 very good receivers, by the way, in Egbuka and Chris Godwin. As when matched up against these two, Q was apparently targeted 9 times and gave up just 2 catches for 6 yards while getting a whopping 5 pass breakups and also a career-high grade of 90.2, which also happened to be the highest in the game for the Birds. So yeah, safe to say he was pretty impressive.
Quinyon Mitchell from the opening drive of the game was awesome. No matter who he played against, mostly it was against Egbuka, the rookie, the sensational rookie. But it was play after play after play. One-on-one, no help. Like, he's just locked in. Dig route right here. Every kind of route. Bam. Constantly got the ball out. No matter where he was. You watch him down here. This is the next play. 3rd and 3 right here. Little pivot route by Egbuka. He's right there. Upfield shoulder. Defends the pass right there. Keeps it to a 1-yard gain. They got a punt. It was just incredible what he did. How about this one right here to Godwin? This deep route right here. Here he is, just sticky on him. Ball's in the air, finds the ball, gets all the ball out of Godwin's hands. I mean, watch this. This is a stack right here with Godwin and Egbuka, right? Against Cooper DeJean and Quinyon. Look at this break on the ball. All right? Keeps him short of the first down marker. Then how about the deep shot to Egbuka in the 4th quarter? Bucs trying to get another big play. They had two of them. Here we go. I mean, he's in perfect position to make that play. Now they're going to motion the trips right here. Here comes Godwin. All right, here we go. Now they're going to run this deep route to Godwin. Here he goes. Makes the break, flips his hips right here, gets Godwin out of bounds. It was unreal how good Quinyon was in this game. Like, here he is. All right, locked in. Deep route into the end zone. Just doesn't let it go. Like, he was the definition of a shut-down corner. Shut down, lockdown, Quintanamo.
Shout out to Baldy for the breakdown there, and also shout out to Q for the toughness as he got into it a little bit with both Baker Mayfield and Tristan Wirfs of all people, which as an Eagles fan who loves players that have that competitive fire, I love it. And again, safe to say, Q absolutely balled out. Oh, and so did his draft mate in Cooper DeJean, as one half of the exciting whites was the fourth highest graded Eagle in the game at 80.3, and he ended up with a game-high 9 tackles, 8 of them solo, and 2 passes defended, one of which was almost a huge interception. And if you watch this game, you know Coop was absolutely everywhere and just flying around with the football, making nice plays and great tackles. And interestingly, he was also asked to play some outside corner in this game in base due to some injuries, and he was great there as well.
So the Eagles got Cooper DeJean playing outside corner in the base package. Outside corner is huge because all of a sudden that means what was a weakness for the Eagles has now become a strength. Now all of a sudden a weakness turns to a strength. Great job staying in his pedal, not being fully threatened by Egbuka's speed. Comes out of his break, drives downhill, inside shoulder, play the ball, break up.
It is just a huge asset for this defense to have a guy as versatile and all-around skilled as Cooper DeJean, so drop a like down below for that. I really would appreciate it because it helps me out a ton. Getting back to the game though, and as I said, the offense came out firing on all cylinders, as on the very first drive, Jalen Hurts led the Birds right down the field as the passing game was on fire, and an escape and 29-yard scramble by Hurts set the Eagles up first and goal. And then he finished the drive off with a nice little underhanded shovel over to Dallas Goedert for the touchdown to put the Birds up 14-0. Now, the next drive after that didn't go so great, but the one following that was absolutely masterful again, as things kicked off with a 22-yard strike up the seam to Dallas Goedert again, so definitely good to see the middle of the field utilized and the ball throw down the field. And that was followed by a 16-yard gain from Grant Calcaterra on a crosser, before Hurts later made magic happen, evading pressure and rolling out on third down before finding DeVonta Smith for 20 yards. And a play later, they were in the end zone once again, this time coming from another shovel pass to Dallas Goedert to go up 21-3. And then on the Birds' final drive of the half, it wasn't as good, but they still drove down the field, had several nice plays, both on the ground and through the air, including a nice one to beat the Bucs blitz, and it eventually ended with a 39-yard field goal from Jake Elliott to put them up 24-3. Now, Tampa Bay did answer back to end the half with an insane 65-yard field goal from Chase McLaughlin, but still, overall, it was about as good of a first half as we could have hoped for from the Eagles offense, and they looked much more aggressive and like they were building off that second half versus the Rams. I mean, they were great against the blitz, constantly having an answer for it, and Jalen Hurts specifically was near perfect, going 15 for 16 with 171 total yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, and a 140.1 rating, which is just insane. But as amazing as that was, of course, we all know that once again, it was a tale of two halves. As the offense came out in that third quarter, and looked like they had reverted back to what they were doing in the first half against the Rams, that simply being calling the game scared and being way too conservative. And it resulted in 6 of the Eagles' 7 true offensive drives in the second half, resulting in punts, and 5 of them were 3-and-outs. And there were multiple reasons for this. I mean, for one, the pass game got boring and bland again, while the run game, as it has been all season, was simply ineffective. And yes, absolutely no question, the predictable play calling deserves some blame here once again, but as Anthony DeBona also pointed out, I also think it's very fair to criticize the offensive line for how they've been playing and how it's hindered their success in the run game, because they've not played up to that elite standard that we're so used to from an Eagles offensive line. So they just got to execute better. And again, there are also some things that they can do play calling wise to help counter the stacked boxes that the Eagles keep seeing. And that's something Jordan Mailata echoed after the game.
This is 4 games now, though. The run offense hasn't gotten it.
Yeah.
Is this the new world that you guys have to live in terms of?
I think so. I think we have to do a better job up front and executing, but also, you know, again, if we know that they're going to load the box, let's kind of see how we can pick them apart, whether we run more play actions. But I think it all starts with us up front, with the execution. And I think, again, you look at the plays, we're always one away, and that is such a big momentum killer. momentum killer and drive killer.
Definitely hoping the run game gets better, and also definitely hoping that the Eagles can get A.J. Brown the ball more, as after the pass offense got stale again and Brown finished the game with just 2 catches for 7 yards, wide receiver 1 expressed his frustrations on social media, posting, quote, "If you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulders and be on your way." So, yeah. Pretty clear A.J. Brown is frustrated about something, whether it's his specific lack of involvement in the offense or just the offensive issues in general. I mean, it sounds to me there like he has made it clear, whether it's to the coaches or whoever, that he wants the offense to look a certain way, or maybe it's something about how he would like to be utilized, but it just hasn't happened. Honestly, I don't know, but he's clearly not happy about something. And honestly, I can't really blame him too much. I mean, AJ's easily one of the top 5 wide receivers in the game, and he deserves to be a bigger part of things. Now, the Eagles are 4-0, which I'm sure he's happy about, and he did have a game-high 9 targets, so it's not like the Eagles weren't trying to get him involved, but I wonder if the issue is just how he's being utilized rather than a lack of targets. Again, I really don't know, but, regardless, definitely not great to see AJ frustrated after the win. And overall, no doubt, the offense had major struggles in that second half, part of it definitely having to do with Lane Johnson going out with an injury, but also, it was just them being too conservative and a lack of execution, so they definitely need to fix all that moving forward. Luckily for them, though, the defense bailed them out in that second half with some big-time plays. Now, yes, they also did give up some huge plays, including a 77-yard touchdown to Emeka Egbuka on what was just an absolutely insane play, and also a 72-yard touchdown to Bucky Irving, who beat Jihaad Campbell down the sideline. And Baker Mayfield escaped and found him for the big-time score. But the defense also came up huge in different moments. For example, the forced fumble they had on Bucky Irving that was credited to Jalix Hunt and recovered by Keely Ringo helped set them up in great field position and eventually led to a Saquon Barkley touchdown on a fake brotherly shove that ultimately helped put the game out of reach. And luckily, Jihaad Campbell had a short memory after giving up the long touchdown, as just 2 defensive drives later, Campbell made possibly the biggest defensive play of the entire game, as he picked off Baker Mayfield in the end zone after the pass was tipped by Reed Blankenship, and this was huge because it ended what was a huge opportunity for the Bucs to tie the game in the fourth quarter, and it was the biggest play in what was a huge game for Campbell, as he was the 3rd highest graded Eagle at 85.4 and made numerous plays throughout the game. So, definitely awesome to see the rookie developing and becoming a star before our very eyes. And now, going into next week, the Eagles got a huge decision to make. So make sure you're subscribed and you got notifications turned on because you don't want to miss any of that coverage. And luckily, the Eagles defense was able to come through one more time on the next drive with a huge sack from Moro Ojomo, pushing the Bucs back and ultimately leading to a 4th down stop where Perry Nickerson tackled K-Dot short. And from there, the Eagles just ran the clock out and the game was over. So, again, it was not perfect, but it was a fantastic win for the Eagles against a really good opponent that they've had trouble with in recent years, and I think it is a step in the right direction. And the good thing is they're not satisfied and they want to get better. So now, next up is a matchup with the Denver Broncos, and you guys know that I'm going to be covering everything in the lead up to that, so make sure you subscribe, you turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. And also, please leave a like down below because it really does help me out a ton. Also, hit the hype button because that also helps me out a lot. And leave your comments down below. What are your thoughts on the Eagles win over the Buccaneers? I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on it. And also, if you do want to watch another Eagles video, you can check this one out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.